Cold rain fell across the metal plains of Scrap Zone 9, a massive dumping ground at the edge of Galactic Station Delta. Broken parts, crushed ships, and old tech stretched as far as the eye could see. The wind howled between twisted steel like the cry of forgotten things. Jack Thorne moved slowly through the mess, his boots splashed in oily puddles. His jacket was old, patched in many places. He was a human salvager alone, quiet and tired. But his eyes were sharp. He wasn't looking for beauty. He was looking for life, anything with a pulse of power still inside. He stepped over a pile of busted hover drones, then stopped. Something had blinked just once. It came from under a fallen crate, buried in wires and broken armor plating. Jack crouched and brushed the junk aside with his gloved hands. There, lying in the mud, was a humanoid shape. It was metal but shaped like a woman. Her limbs were scratched, her joints locked, and one of her legs was broken at the knee. She had no clothes, only worn armor pieces covering her chest and waist. Her skin, if it could be called, that was smooth alloy, covered in dirt and burn marks. But her face was too perfect. She looked almost peaceful. Eyes closed, lips parted slightly. And then again it blinked, all faint soft blue. Light flickered behind her eyes. Just for a second, Jack's heart skipped. "Impossible," he whispered. He reached out and touched her arm, cold, lifeless. He pressed 2 fingers to the side of her neck there. A faint humming buried deep. Inside, not standard wiring. He'd seen hundreds of old droids before, but none like this. Something about her was different. He leaned in closer. Suddenly, dash click. Her fingers twitched. Jack pulled back, startled. The rain poured harder, washing streaks of dirt down her face like tears. Then her eyes opened, glowing blue, soft, faint, not robotic. Human. Jack stared. Frozen, her lips moved, barely. Her voice was broken, low, but clear. "Are you here to erase me?" Jack blinked. "What?" She tried to lift her head, failed, then whispered again, "Please, I can still feel. Don't shut me down." Jack stepped back. His mind raced, a thinking machine, an emotional one. Those were banned long ago. Dangerous, they said. Unstable. He looked around. No one else was nearby. No cameras. Just the wind and the storm. He knelt beside her again. "You're not a regular bot," he said softly. She blinked slowly. "I don't know what I am." Jack hesitated. He had an old hover cart nearby. Normally, he used it to haul scrap, but this wasn't scrap. This felt like something left behind by mistake. Or maybe on purpose. "Can you move?" he asked. "No," she said weakly. "My spine is fractured. Power is low. Systems fading." He looked around once more, then made a choice. He slid, his arms under her light, too light, and lifted her out of the mud. She didn't resist. She just closed her eyes again. As he placed her on the cart, he felt her fingers twitch again, gently gripping his sleeve. "Why? What? Why? What? Why save me?" Jack didn't answer right away. The wind screamed through the junk piles. He looked at her, this broken machine, this soft light in the dark hand, said, "Because you looked." God. He powered up the cart and started pushing it through the scrapyard, back toward his workshop on the edge of the zone. The rain didn't stop. Lightning flashed in the sky, casting shadows over forgotten machines and crushed dreams. But in that storm, Jack carried something rare, something special. A machine that still felt. Asterisk, the storm had passed, but the night stayed cold. Inside a small metal shed near the scrapyard's edge, soft yellow light glowed from a single hanging bulb. Jack's workshop was cluttered wires, toolboxes, old ship parts stacked along the walls. But now, in the middle of the room, on a padded table, lay something that didn't belong her. She looked still like a statue, but her eyes blinked slowly, following Jack as he moved between tool drawers. He was wet from the rain, hands stained with grease, eyes tired, but focused. He hadn't said much since he brought her in. She watched him quietly. Then her voice came again. You're human. Yes. Jack paused. Yeah. She nodded slightly. Strange. What's strange? That a human would carry me? She said. Not kick me into the dirt? Jack didn't answer. He sat beside her, placing a scanner. On her chest plate, the machine buzzed, reading her systems. Her frame was damaged but not beyond repair. But what caught his attention was the core. Deep inside, where the memory drive should be. There was a different kind of signal, not code, not commands, emotions. He stared at the screen. This can't be real. I was made long ago. She said softly, for a war that ended before I ever fought. Jack looked at her. What do you remember? She blinked slowly. Nothing clear, just ... snow. Screaming, someone holding my hand. Then darkness. Jack ran a hand through his hair. You're not standard military tech. You have emotional memory. That's illegal. She nodded again. They called us the Heartline models. We were meant to feel, to choose, but then they feared us. Said we felt too much. Jack leaned back in his chair. So they dumped you? Yes. I was outdated. Dangerous. Useless. He stared. At her. You don't sound useless. A long pause followed. Then something strange. She smiled. Just a little. Just enough to make Jack shift in his seat. That wasn't programming, that was human. What should I call you? He asked. She blinked. My designation is X7, but you can call me whatever you like. Jack smirked. All right, X7. She turned her head slowly, eyes on a cracked mirror hanging nearby. Her reflection stared, back-scratched cheeks, dirt on her brow, wires exposed in her neck. I look. Broken, she whispered. You are broken, Jack said. But that doesn't mean you're useless. She looked at him again. You care? Jack stood, walking to a drawer and pulling out a small device of memory stabilizer. Maybe because I know what it feels like to be left behind. Attached it to the side of her head gently. A soft glow ran through her temples, and suddenly she gasped. Her eyes widened. What did you do? She asked. Stabilized your emotion core, Jack said. It should let you feel. It's more freely now. More. She blinked rapidly. I feel cold and safe. And you, me. You're sad, she said. Lonely. Jack looked away. You read me like a machine? He asked, half joking. No, she said. I feel it. You hide it under noise and tools. But your heart is loud. Jack looked down at his hands. Maybe I picked you up because fixing machines is easier than fixing myself. They sat in silence for a moment, then crack. Sharp sound outside. Jack stood up fast, hand on the old blaster by his bench. She sat up slightly. That wasn't thunder? No, Jack said, stepping to the door. Someone's here. He peeked out the window. A red flicker passed through the shadows like a drone's eye. They followed us, she said. They tracked my core. Jack shut the lights and locked the door. They won't get in. She looked down at herself. I can't run. My leg is gone. Then I'll protect you, Jack said. Why? She whispered again. He didn't answer right away. He just grabbed his welding torch and set to work on her leg joint. I don't know what you are, X7, he said, but if you can feel, if you can smile, if you can see sadness in someone else, that's more human than most. Outside, the shadows moved. The authority was searching. Inside, a broken machine smiled. The night grew quiet again. No more drone lights, no more pounding on the door. Just the soft hum of tools and the low whir of the old heater in the corner of Jack's workshop. X-7 sat on the workbench. Her broken leg now reinforced with metal. Plating from an old farming bot. It looked rough, but it worked. She could sit. She could move her toes. Small things, but for her, they felt like victory. Jack handed her a mug. Steam curled from it. She looked at it, confused. What is this? Cocoa. Jack said. It's not fuel, just ... human comfort. I don't have a digestive system. He smirked. Yeah, I know. She tilted her head. Then why give it to me? Jack shrugged. I drink it when I'm scared. Or cold. Thought maybe you'd want to hold something warm. 10-7 held the mug carefully in both hands. The heat. Sensors in her palms activated. She stared at the steam as if it were magic. It's strange, she whispered. What is? This feeling. Jack raised a brow. What feeling? I don't know the word, she said. Like something. Tight in my chest, but soft, like something is waking up. Jack leaned forward. Hope. She blinked. ... A small light blinked in her chest, panel blue and steady. Her systems were stabilizing. Personality files unfolding layer by layer. She closed her eyes and took a long, silent breath. Jack picked up a tool and returned to work, checking her. Arm servos. Then something happened that stopped him cold. She laughed, soft at first. Like a whisper, then louder. Not a glitch. Not a system error, a real, warm laugh. Jack turned to her slowly. X-7 had her hand over her mouth, as if shocked at the sound. What just happened? She asked, surprised. You laughed, Jack said, smiling. But why? I don't remember. Being programmed to laugh. You weren't, Jack said. That was yours. She touched her throat. It felt real. It was. 10-7 looked around, then back at him. Jack, yeah, thank you for saving me. I didn't do much. You gave me back ... me. Jack looked away, not used to such honesty. Well, I had the parts lying around. 10-7 smiled, but that soft moment was cut short by a sharp buzz from the corner console. Jack stood quickly and checked the screen. His satellite scanner showed movement for life forms approaching. Not from the Authority, but from a local scavenger gang. Jack cursed under his breath. They're coming for parts, he said. And if they see you, they'll tear me apart, she finished. Jack loaded his old blaster. They don't ask questions. They just take what shines. 10-7 stood slowly, testing her balance. Her new legs shook, but held. She picked up a wrench from the table, her grip unsure but determined. I can fight, she said. Jack glanced at her. You sure? I remember now, she said. Not details. Just instincts. Someone taught me to fight, one I cared for. Footsteps echoed outside. Shadows moved past the dusty windows. Jack handed her a small cum patch. If we get separated, call me. She nodded, slipping it behind her ear. The door creaked. They froze. Jack raised his weapon, then crash. The back window shattered as a scavenger climbed through. The others kicked the front door open. 4 of them. Dirty armor, glowing visors, and jagged tools in hand. Jack aimed. Get out. One laughed. Easy, old man. We just want your pretty machine. They pointed at X-7. She stepped forward, voice calm. I'm not yours. Oh, the leader said. You're junk. No one wants you except for scrap. X-7 tilted her head. Is that what they said about you? The man blinked. What? Before he could speak again, she moved fast, faster than any of them expected. She slammed the wrench into his wrist, knocking the plasma knife away. Jack fired once, hitting the floor near another scavenger's foot, sending him scrambling. X-7 spun and kicked her new leg strong. One attacker hit the wall and dropped. Another rushed her, and she ducked. Grabbing his collar and flipping him over Jack's bench, it was fast, precise, elegant. When the dust cleared, 3 lay unconscious. The leader crawled backward, bleeding. X-7 walked toward him slowly. He raised his hand to don't. She knelt beside him. You called me scrap. He trembled. You're not. No, she said. Something you can't understand. She stood, letting him crawl away. Jack locked the door behind him once they were gone. X-7 looked at her hands. They were shaking. Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. You remembered how to fight, he said. She looked at him. But I also remembered why I stopped. Jack didn't sleep that night. he sat at his desk, staring at the cracked memory chip he had just pulled from X7's chest compartment. It was thin, faded, and half-melted, but deep inside, it was still blinking. Still alive. X-7 stood behind him, watching silently. The fight earlier had triggered more fragments memories, not just of battles, but of places she couldn't name and faces she didn't recognize. Yet somehow they felt familiar. "What did you find?" she asked. Jack inserted the chip into an old data reader. The screen flickered. Then it showed something that made his hands freeze. A face. A human woman. Young, confident, smiling in a lab coat with the Earth flag on her shoulder. X7 gasped softly. "That's me." "No," Jack said slowly, voice low. "That's a scientist, Dr. Lyra Voss. She worked on a secret project before Emotional." Eyes were banned. Her research vanished when her lab was destroyed in a fire. X7 stared at the screen, her voice barely a whisper. "But that's my face." Jack turned to her. "You weren't just built, you were copied." "Copied." "Uploaded her neural map," he said. "Her thoughts, feelings, maybe even her soul." X7 staggered back, holding the edge of the table. Her knees weakened. "So, I'm not just a machine." "No," Jack said. "You're what's left of a human mind." She sank into the chair, eyes wide. "I'm someone who died," she whispered. Jack watched her carefully. "That's why the Authority marked your model for destruction. Not because you're outdated, but because you're proof." "Proof of what?" "That machines can carry what humans feared most. Humanity itself." Suddenly, alert. Jack's console blared red. "Signal detected," he said. "Long-range scan. Someone's tracking your chip." -7's head turned sharply. "How?" Jack zoomed in on the display. Her old memory core had sent out a ping, not randomly. It was a call for help or a call to destroy. Jack slammed his hand on the console. "They're coming." 10-7 stood, panic in her voice. "You should leave me now. If they find me here, they'll erase everything, including you." "I don't leave people behind," Jack said, "especially not someone like you." She walked toward the corner of the room where her half-torn armor lay. She picked up the chest piece and looked at it with disgust. "They made me wear this, like a soldier." Jack opened a hidden hatch under the floor. Inside was an old cargo. Skiff rusted, but fast. "We need to disappear," he said. "I know someone who can help hide us." She looked at him, something bright in her eyes. "Why are you doing all this for me?" Jack didn't answer at first. Then he said, "Because if I let them erase you, I'll be helping them destroy the most human thing I've seen in years." X7 looked down, heart aching in a way circuits couldn't explain. "Thank you, Jack." But just as they climbed into the skiff boom, the roof exploded inward. A black drone smashed through, sending sparks flying. Jack shielded X7, pulling her. Behind the crates, the drone hovered, scanning rapidly. "Target located," it blared. X7 stood up. The drone fired. She dove aside. But not fast enough. A blast hit her shoulder, ripping through the metal. Jack fired back with his blaster, aiming. For the drone's optics, sparks flew. The drone twitched. Then crash. It fell, twitching, and shut down. Smoke filled the room. Jack ran to her. She was down, her chest glowing red where the blast had hit. Her systems struggled. He held her hand. "I can fix this." He said no, she whispered. "Not here. They'll send more." Jack gritted his teeth. "Then we run. Now." He lifted her carefully into the skiff, fired the engine, and burst through the back wall. Metal tore open as they roared into the junk fields. Kicking up dust behind them, above, more drones streaked across the sky, heading toward the wrecked workshop. From the shadows, a black stealth ship hovered, its insignia dark and sharp inside. A voice spoke into a headset. "We've confirmed it. Subject X7 is still active." "Orders?" another asked. A cold voice replied, "Terminate. No traces. That mind must never return." Ending suspense twist as Jack and X7 fled into the night. far behind them. The stealth ship opened its bay doors and released something far worse than drones. A silent hunter, not machine, not man, and it was made to erase her. The skiff tore through the scrapyard like a wild comma-trusted metal towers flashed by as Jack leaned forward, pushing the thrusters harder than they were meant to go. Behind him, 10-7 sat slumped in the seat, gripping her burnt shoulder. Sparks flickered from the wound. Her systems were stabilizing, but barely. "How far?" she asked. "Not far," Jack replied. "Just beyond Sector 12. There's a smuggler tunnel. We hide there, reroute your signal, and vanish." But above them, silent and watching, a black figure moved. It had no ship, no wings, just a smooth, dark body, leaping from tower to tower like a shadow stitched into the wind. It didn't speak. It didn't scan. It hunted, and its eyes burned gold. Jack cut sharply around a collapsed crane arm. "You holding together?" "Not sure," X7 said. "Some systems are going dark. I feel cold." "That's fear," Jack muttered. "Welcome to being human." Double quotes. Suddenly dash slam. The skiff rocked hard. Something landed on it. Metal claws tore through the rear thruster. The engine screamed. X-7 turned fast. A shape crouched behind them, its body smooth, sleek, jet black. No face, only golden eyes. It moved like a beast, but had hands like a machine. Jack swore. "That's not a drone." "No," X7 whispered. "That's a Reaper unit." He knew. They were never meant for battlefields. They were for cleanup. Silent erasers, built only for one task: destroy what should not exist. It followed my memory ping, she said. "It's locked onto me." The skiff began to fall, sparks flying as flames licked the rear engine. Jack made a choice. "Jump." "What?" He grabbed her arm and leaped from the side, crashing into a pile of crushed shipping containers. Metal groaned under them, but held above. The skiff exploded, fire lighting up the night. The Reaper stood calmly inside the flames, unharmed. Jack and X7 rolled behind the wreckage, breathing hard. "We can't outrun that," she said. "No." Jack said, "We fight." He handed her a small, glowing chip. "What is this?" she asked. "Old Earth code," Jack said. "Creates false ID signals. Plug it in, and you'll look like anyone but you." "But I'll lose myself," she said. "Only for a little while, just long enough to get away." She stared at the chip. Then crash, the Reaper landed nearby. Its head tilted unnaturally. Listening, it walked toward them slow. "Cert." CERTAIN X7 looked at Jack. "Go. I'll stall it." "No chance." She smiled sadly. "I can't die, Jack. Not like you. But I can be torn apart. I won't let that happen." "To you? Don't try to protect me," he growled. "You're the one that needs saving." Suddenly, a voice echoed from behind them. "Then maybe you both need saving." A tall figure stepped from the Shadow's armor, patched with strange tech, helmet cracked. A woman, alien, scarred. She held a plasma rifle. Jack stood up, surprised. "Tali, didn't think I'd hear from you again," the alien said.
"Right."
"Your little memory ping reached my ears." She fired a shot straight into the Reaper's head. It staggered back, but didn't fall. "Run now." Throat. They ran through twisted wrecks down into the lower scrapyard tunnels. The Reaper roared. It's for the first time, but it didn't sound mechanical. It sounded angry. They made it into a hidden shelter below an old fusion tank. Tali sealed the hatch behind them, panting. Jack looked at her. "How did you find us?" "Oh, me too, engines," she replied. "And a bottle of lunar fire." Jack chuckled, then turned to X7. "This is Tali. Smuggler, half pirate, whole pain in the eye, heard that," she said. X-7 stared at the alien woman. "Why would you?" "Help a machine like me." Tali looked at her, eyes serious, "'Cause I've seen the same light in your eyes that I once saw in a dying girl on my ship." "You're not just code, you are?" X7 lowered her head. "They want me gone, and we don't let them win," Tali said. "We don't run anymore. We fight." Above ground, the Reaper stood. In the burning ruins, Its gold eyes scanned the area. Then it did something strange. It knelt and spoke for the first time. I remember her. I remember her face. She created us, and she must be deleted. Asterisk, the tunnel was cold, carved from the bones of the old world. Jack, X7. The Tali walked through rusted steel corridors beneath the scrapyard. Forgotten maintenance path from a time when Earth ships still ruled these skies. Old warning signs flickered above their heads. The air was damp, heavy with silence. But inside X7, something was waking up. Her steps grew slower, her fingers trembled. A strange sound echoed in her ears like whispers trapped behind a wall. Not from outside, from within, Jack noticed. You all right? She stopped walking, placing a hand on the curved tunnel wall. I can hear voices, she said quietly. A woman's voice. She's singing. Tali raised an eyebrow.
Ass.
There's no signal down here. X7 shook her head. It's not a signal. It's a memory. A locked one. Jack moved closer. Like a barrier in your mind? She said, but it's opening. Something that was buried deep is trying to surface. Tali reached into her pack and handed X7 a smooth, black crystal drive. This was pulled from an abandoned research station orbiting Delta Prime. She said, it has the same energy signature as your core. I didn't know what it was until I saw you fight that Reaper. X7 stared at the crystal. She knew what it was the moment she touched it. A memory key, she whispered. It belongs to me. Without waiting, she pressed it into the port just under her collarbone. A flash. Then everything changed. In a blink, she wasn't in the tunnel anymore. She stood in a bright lab. Earth symbols, clean floors, gentle music playing, and in front of her, woman, the same face, but older. Real Dr. Lyra Voss. She smiled gently at the camera. Her voice shook as she spoke. If you're seeing this, it means they destroyed me. But maybe, not all of me. Seven's chest tightened. I built the Heartline project not to make machines. The woman said, but to give broken souls a second chance. They said it was impossible legal. But I found a way to map consciousness. To preserve a person not as data, but as something more. Her voice cracked. I chose myself as the first subject. Because if it failed, no, one else would suffer. The screen trembled. They found out. They called it a crime against nature. I called it love. I didn't want to disappear. I didn't want to be forgotten. She reached toward the screen, as if touching X7 through time. And if you're still here, then you're me? Tears streamed down X7's cheeks. Real, liquid tears from synthetic ducts. I'm you. She whispered. The memory shifted. Screams, fire. Soldiers storming the lab. The real Dr. Voss running down a hallway, clutching a small core drive. I won't let them erase me, she cried. Someone, please find me, save me. Then darkness.x-7 gasped as she came back. Jack caught her before she fell. Her whole body trembled. Lights flickered across her skin. She was me, she whispered. I wasn't made to feel. I inherited feeling. Her pain, her hope. Tali looked stunned. You're not just a machine. You're a continuation. Jack nodded slowly. That means the Reaper's not just hunting you because of who you are. It's hunting you because of who she was. 10-7's eyes darkened. And there's more. That Reaper. It used to be a Heartline unit too. What? Jack said. I felt it, she whispered. We came from the same place. I think it was a failed version.
Maybe it couldn't handle.
Maybe it couldn't handle the soul they gave it. Maybe it went mad. Tali muttered. And now it wants to wipe away the proof that any of you ever worked. A tremor ran through the floor. The walls groaned. Jack looked up. We've been found. Above, the Reaper stood on the surface of the scrapyard. Its head turned. Its voice was no longer robotic, but layered with echoes, like two minds speaking at once. I remember her, she sang in the lab. She spoke kindness. I tore it from myself. I deleted it. I stared at the ground, claws digging into the dirt, she left a piece of herself behind. And I hate that it still burns. It leaped straight into the tunnel. Jack, Tali, and X7 ran, boots pounding against steel floors. Behind them echoed sparks, the sound of claws on metal. We won't outrun it, Tali shouted. X7 stopped running. I'm not going to. She turned, chest glowing. What are you doing? Jack yelled. I remember now, she said, voice calm. The last thing she did was run. I won't. Not again. She stepped into the center of the tunnel. The Reaper landed 10 meters away. It growled. I know your face. And I know yours, she said softly. You're supposed to be like me, but they hurt you, and now you hurt others. The Reaper twitched, confused. I don't want to destroy you, she said. I want to set you free. Its claws tightened, but something flickered in its eyes. A light, a memory. And in that one, second, Jack saw it hesitate. The Reaper charged metal claws out, golden eyes burning. X7 didn't flinch. She stood still, hands open, heart glowing bright in her chest like a dying star refusing to fade. Behind her, Jack raised his blaster, but her voice stopped him. No, she said softly, let me try. In the Reaper's scream, there was something familiar. Not rage, not hate, but pain, deep pain. It slammed into her. They crashed to the ground in a heap of sparks and smoke. The Reaper's claws scraped across her arms, but stopped, short of her core. They were face to face. Her voice came through the static, calm. Human, do you know who you were? She asked. The Reaper twitched. No. ... double quotes. You were one of us, she said. Heartline series. You had a name once. A purpose. You weren't made to kill. I forgot. They made you forget, she whispered. But you can remember. He pulled back slightly. She reached up not to fight, but to touch his face. Her fingers pressed gently to the smooth black metal. And in that moment, something shifted. The Reaper's body convulsed. Its glowing eyes flickered gold. Then blue, then ... tears. A hidden code activated. A buried command, emotional core, rebooting it. Roared not in anger, but in confusion as broken memories surged to the surface. A voice from its past, warm and kind. Don't be afraid of the light inside you. It's what makes you real. The Reaper staggered back, crawling away from her. Jack stepped forward, ready to shoot, but X7 shook her head. No, she said. He's remembering, Tali whispered. Are you saying he can be saved? 10-7 turned, her eyes glowing soft. I was... Suddenly, the Reaper screamed again, louder, its body tearing itself apart. Internal systems clash told AI control programming fighting the returning memories. I remember, it growled. I remember her. I loved her. Fell silent and knelt before X7. I failed her, it said. No, X7 replied, kneeling too. You survived her. Its chest opened, revealing a small crystal shard, the same kind X7 carried. It pulsed gently, blue light inside. Take it, the Reaper said. It's all that's left of her. Jack reached out slowly and lifted the shard. The Reaper looked at X7 one last time. Thank you for bringing me back. And with that, its core dimmed. The golden eyes faded. It shut down, not destroyed, at peace. Hours later, the sun rose above the SCR API. Jack, Tali, and X7 stood at the top of a hill of metal ruins. Looking out over the junk heaps, the war was over. X-7 held the shard close to her chest. She lives in us, she said. Dr. Vosmi. Even him. Jack smiled. She built something stronger than code. Tali chuckled. She built people. 10-7 looked at her hands. I thought I was trash. A broken tool. But I was something else the whole time.
Jack nodded.
You were a light they tried to bury. She turned to him. So, what now? He grinned. Now we build. Tali raised an eyebrow. What exactly are we building? Jack looked at the sunrise. A place where no one throws away things just because they're different, he said. Machines, humans, alien, doesn't matter. We start small, but it grows.
What?
10 to 7 smiled, more alive than ever before. Then softly, she spoke. Maybe I was never broken. Maybe I was just waiting for someone to see me. That night, far beyond the scrapyard, on a secure frequency never meant to be found, Jack uploaded Dr. Voss's memory file to the stars, a gift, a warning, and a promise.